Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I release a new video every Sunday evening, and it's about RC, anything between planes, quadcopters, trucks, and so forth, and sometimes even beyond that. So today's video we're going to talk about the LiftOff game simulator, and specifically the track builder. There are just a few videos out there, and with the new release on the LiftOff simulator, there's some interesting and cool things to the track builder, so I want to kind of go over that and show you how to set up your own track. Alright, so let's get into this. So the first thing you want to do is go to Options, Controls, Buttons, and then you have two options for assigning buttons to the keyboard or the controller. We're going to concentrate on the controller. So if you scroll down, these are the first sets are for just like using the game. But if we slow down, come down to Track Editor. So here's where you can customize your settings. Place object is, for me, I assigned it to the space bar. So as you're moving objects around, you can hit the space bar and it drops it down into place. Remove object, you can assign a certain key if you want to just like hit that. Confirm that I want to do it R. Rotate left and right. So pay attention to these because you'll use these commands a lot. I just have it as O and P. Cycle view is from like pivot to ground. Place mode, erase toggle, clear section, translate gizmo, and rotate gizmo. So these are the settings that you're going to use a lot. And once you're done, hit save. And then exit. And then we're going to go into Track Builder. And then you can pick the track you want to build on. For simplicity, I'm just going to go all the way to the end and do the drawing board. So we're going to start off and create a new track. Give it a name. And then the first thing you want to do is hit Edit Track. It usually would, common sense would be once you create a new name, it would automatically open the track. But you have to click on Edit Track. So right now we are in just a blank drawing board section there. And it shows just a grid. So what I'm going to do is up here I have two different views. Right now this is just the first person view, and then if I go top down, this will help you out to understand things just a little bit better. So you can see grid, and if I zoom in, you can see that each line is basically like a yard, and at the starting point with the crosshair is 0, 0, 0x, 0y. And let's go ahead and zoom in and move forward. And I'm moving forward by using the up, down, left, and right keys like you would in a gaming. So right now, I just moved ahead 10 yards. So it's basically 0 on the X and 10 yards on the Y. Y is the vertical. So I started right here at 0, 0, and then I just went up 10 yards. So first of all, that's to understand what grid you're working with. Now let's say if you want to select an object. You come down here to select a category. We'll start off with a gate. And you can scroll, and this one has 8 different gates. And so basically you just hover over a gate and it slides through, and you can select what type of gate you want to start with. So let's just say that. And you can see that it is automatically right there. if I move my left and right arrow up or up and down, it will tell me exactly where I want to place it. Now remember your keyboard shortcuts. For mine, if I hit the space bar, that places the gate. So if I move away, you see there at 0, 0, it placed a gate. Let me go ahead and zoom out just a touch. So if I move forward, let's say 5 yards, hit the space bar again, there's a second gate. Now let's say if I want to put it here, but I want to rotate the gate 45 degrees. So my keyboard shortcuts for rotating are O and P. So if I just tap the O or the P to go back and forth between the rotation angles, there's the angle that I want to do. I hit the space bar and it places it. So now if I move forward, you notice that it keeps the angle that you're at. So that's kind of helpful. Let's try some other objects here. So let's go back and try some cones or some discs. We'll just try the blue one. You see it places it there. And I'm going to scroll back to the starting point. Zoom in so you can see it. If I hit spacebar, it places it. Spacebar. So using the top-down view is really easy to see an overview of how things are being laid out. When you're looking at it from the first-person view from on the ground, it sometimes gets a little confusing and your objects aren't always so in precise alignment. You can also click and hold down, and then I am basically just dragging before I hit the space bar, and then I'm able to more precisely place where I want the object to be. Like that. All right, so let's say we have an object and we want to kind of fine-tune it. So right now I'm doing the top-down view on the top left of the screen. Right now the crosshairs on placing objects, but let's say if I want to rotate or modify something. So I can click on the manipulate, and if I hover over this gate, you see how it turns green. So I can click on it, and then it brings up windows over here. So what I'm able to do is I can place, so I can just grab the handle and move it along the X or the Y, like so. So as you move it, look at the window there, the X, Y, and Z. So this is just basically showing where you're at. So if you want to precisely move it to say like 2 yards, then it'll do so. You can type it in manually. If you click on this, it'll rotate your gate freely. And then you can click on the red to rotate it along the Y-axis like that. So let's get a different view. Let's change it to the top down. I'm sorry, from the top down to the first person. If I back out a little bit, so there are the gates I just placed. And now it's a little easier to see. I still have the rotate gizmo. And now if I rotate it, you can see how it changes the angle that way. Red tilts it like this. And then the yellow tilts it on the axis there. So this is looking at it from the ground view. If I don't get out of the manipulate, I can go back to the place selection. Now, if you want to say hover up above the ground, you just double tap the space bar, and now we're in this floaty mode. So now I can basically see just slightly above, and if I'm using the back arrow, it basically like pulls away or zooms in if I go to the front arrow. And you can also click and rotate around just to get a different view. So that's kind of cool if you want to see it more of an isometric view instead of just first person right on the ground or top down view. So there's a lot of objects you can do place to build your track. Some of them actually glow if you have a nighttime track. There's different structures that you can add, or a tent. If I double tap, I'm now back on the ground. I'm going to place the tent right there. Now, when you're wanting to start in a certain spot, what you need to do is come over to this gear, and then this is the icon for your quadcopter where you want to start. I like to look at it from the top-down view, so I'm just going to get the quad, and I'm going to bring it over to my starting point. So there's the tent. Got to find where I put my, there's the gates. Okay. So right now the quad is facing 9 o'clock. What you actually want to do before you place the quad is go ahead and hit your rotate keys, in my case the O and P, so that the quad is, the arrow on the quad is facing the direction that you want to start off in. And then if you're happy with that, just hit the space bar or whatever key your place is, and then boom, you're there. Now let's say if you have a track that's pretty complex and a lot of different obstacles, you can move your quad, and let's say I want to start over here, and then I go ahead and rotate to get how I want to start, and then place it there. So now I have 2 starting points within this track. Let's go ahead and add a few more things. We're going to add a flag. Let's try it from the first person view. So now you see that the flag is just kind of hovering in space. What you actually need to do is click and drag down until it actually, now you can see that it's on touching the ground. Now it's red, it's above the ground. So once it's on the ground, then you're safe to hit the space bar or whatever your place key is. So let's go ahead and add a flag right there. And now with the flag, you can see how it's accidentally placed one there. That's fine, we'll get rid of it here in a second. So as you're placing it and you're touching an object, you can manipulate it around. It takes a little bit of practice to use it. Try to get it so that it sticks right on the top. Okay, let's try that. And what we can do now is go to the manipulate, select this object, and I can rotate it around, fine tune it how I want to. Now this extra flag that's kind of sticking there, if you hit the eraser and I need to hit the manipulate button, I'm actually able to select anything that I want to erase. So I just hit manipulate, eraser, highlight this flag, click it, and now it's gone. So I turn the eraser back off, and then now I'm back into placing objects. And let's go ahead and save this. So you go to back to menu, save track. As I was building another track, I came across a quick tip that I wanted to add on to my tutorial on the track builder for LiftOff. So here we go. So we're in track builder, we're back to the track I was working on, and I'm going to go ahead and change my gate and select a more rectangular gate. Like that would be fine. And I'm going to select the top view so you can see my gate there. And of course you can rotate with the, in my case the O and P is the rotate keys. and get it back to there. And then for me, the place is spacebar. So if I hit spacebar once, it places it there. But the tip is, if I hit the spacebar again, it places a second one right on top of the other one. And if I hit it the third time, then now it has 3 there. So if I go back to the perspective and back out a little bit, now you see I have 3 gates all stacked up perfectly in alignment right on top of each other. So if you're going to build something that is multiple high, let's say you're going to do the blocks. Again, let's do top-down view, come away, and try a big block like that. Rotate it a little bit. Spacebar, 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 spacebar. And then go back to look at it. So there we go. We've got all of them all lined up. It's a pretty cool tip. All right, so we finished our track, and now we want to create a race. So you're going to do Edit Race. We're going to create a new race. And again, we're going to edit. So this brings us into our race, and I like to work at it from the top-down view. So by zooming out, you can see that we have the different gates, the flag over here, and then our different quadcopters. So the one that's highlighted in white is at 0, 0, X and Y. That's the default one, but we don't actually want to do it because it's like a couple yards from our first gate. I want to actually select this quad back here, or this spawn point, and that will make that being the start point for my racing. Now I'll come up here, and we need to select which gate we want to make as our start stop. I'm going to go ahead and make this one. So if I hit add, and then we can select the left and right arrows, just click on it, and that is the flag for starting. And you can pick either one of these dots, but we're basically going to draw a line from this gate to the next gate. So I click, brings this highlighter up, and once I hover over the second gate, I can click to say add, and it doesn't matter which side of these question marks you want to do. I'll click there, and it created a little highlight path. Now I'm going to go from the second gate, click on the other unused circle to the third, hover, and it says add, click, and then select that circle, and go from here over to the flag, which is here. But because we added that the wall, it actually is a target for you to fly around to the right side of the flag. So click here, say that's the next path. Go from the flag to this gate, and then from that gate back to the start. But you see there's no circle, so what I actually need to do is click add again. It brings a second level, and then click this until I get the trophy for the finish line. Now once I click on either one of the circles, it's going to complete the circle, because it's going to complete the race path. So boom, you see how it turned green. And what I can do now is I can say validate. So if I click on that, it said the race is valid. It will be selectable from the race menu. So great. Now we have a complete race track where it knows where the start and finish gate is. And then now I just need to tell it how many laps is going to be considered a race. So I'll just say 3 laps. And if you want to, again, you can validate. So I'll save race. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's check it out. Well, there it is. 3 laps around is the race. You saw the guy there. He was actually at the 0, 0 X and Y. So that's just one thing to consider. Is I'm pretty sure that you cannot move him around. He always is at the starting point. So when you're building tracks, just keep that in mind. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.